A grand jury returned an indictment here in the Eastern District of New York, charging two defendants, Carl Jordan Jr. and Ronald Washington, for their involvement in the murder of Jason Mizell. And what we've alleged in that indictment is that on October 30th, 2002, nearly 20 years ago, Mr. Jordan and Mr. Washington walked into a music studio in Queens where Mr. Mizell and others were working, essentially, hanging out. And they walked in and they murdered him in cold blood. And we started investigating that case a very long time ago, in the early 2000s, but there were a lot of challenges associated with bringing that case. But primarily, this is a case about a murder that for nearly 2 decades had gone unanswered. And so today, we begin to answer that question of who killed Jason Mizell and why. And we're confident that we can prove those charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Rest in peace, ladies and gentlemen, to Jam Master Jay, and condolences to his family. But we're here today to break it down and talk about it and take a look at everything that's happened up until now. And if you're out there and you're watching, you got something you want to say, you get a chance to call in. Talk about it a little bit. We'll see if anybody pops up in the chat. If not, then we'll take it from there, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get into it. I'm pretty sure you guys seen that press conference. That was Monday. And some more details have come out since then. So let's check it out. Let's rewind. Let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back to 2002 and talk about what happened to Jam Master Jay. Back in 2002, ladies and gentlemen, according to federal prosecutors, Washington and Jordan, and you're going to learn about these two guys, burst into Mizell's Jamaica, Queens recording studio around 7:30 p.m. on October 30th, 2002. Each man brandished a gun. Washington pointed his gun at one of the people in the studio and ordered this person to lay on the floor. Jordan went over to Mizell. Mizell, ladies and gentlemen, is Jam Master Jay. Pointed his gun at him and fired 2 shots at close range. This is claimed by court papers, the indictment papers. One shot hit Mizell in the head, killing him. The other shot hit another person in the leg. Prosecutors claim. On November 1st, 2002, a New York Times article provides more details on the circumstances. Mizell and the other man, identified in this report as Uriel Rincon, were playing Xbox in the studio lounge when the men busted in. The shooter, who's now been identified as Jordan, and that's Carl Jordan, the other man is Ronald Washington, reportedly shot Mizell at close range. And his pistol left powder burns on the producer's shirt. There was a woman who sat several feet away from them at the time of this incident. In the studio's control room, there were 3 more people. The studio's co-owner, a rapper from Albany, and the woman's friend, according to the New York Times. So, ladies and gentlemen, those 2 men that were indicted, Carl Jordan, Ronald Washington. We'll learn more about them as we continue to move on. But as this happened in 2002, people were wondering, it was a mystery. Why would anyone want to kill Jam Master Jay? Right? That was the question. Why would you want to kill Jam Master Jay? As far as we knew, Jam Master Jay was a peaceful brother. Right? A member of the legendary Run DMC. Why Jam Master Jay? Well, there were theories as to why Carl Jordan, Ronald Washington, would want to kill Jam Master Jay. Theories. Well, back then, according to that New York Times article that was published shortly after Jam Master Jay's murder, some cops and had theories on the motive which included a music industry feud, but a solid answer remained elusive. Cops reportedly thought that Mizell's murder might relate to a grudge against 50 Cent. 50 Cent, ladies and gentlemen, listen, 50 Cent is no stranger to drama and to gunplay that was made against him. You all know the story, right? But the theory was that there might be a grudge against 50 Cent, whom Jason Mizell, Jam Master Jay, had signed to his label, JMJ Records. One of the theories is that somebody was trying to get back at 50 Cent by taking out Jam Master Jay. Because we all know that 50 Cent has had a lot of drama in the street back then. The Indie Club rapper, talking about 50 Cent, whose real name is Curtis Jackson, was expected to perform at Mars in Midtown Manhattan that evening, the evening of Mizell's death. Cops went there following Mizell's murder, Jam Master Jay. The 50 Cent show was canceled, and the cops gave him security. The same high-ranking NYPD official also reportedly said it could have been as simple as a bad business deal, someone who wasn't happy with their level of success, and killed them. But those were theories surrounding Jam Master Jay's death and untimely passing. But of course, we know now what the truth is. Now, we know that it's Carl Jordan. We know that it is Ronald Washington. But why? Reports have come out about why. Allegedly, according to indictment papers, there was a $1.7 million cocaine deal on the table. These are according to indictment papers, which are unsealed. Let's check it out. Why did Jam Master Jay get killed? Federal prosecutors claimed that Jason Mizell, Jam Master Jay, was involved in bringing kilogram quantities of coke to the New York City area from 1996 to 2002. Mizell allegedly obtained some 10 kilos on consignment from a Midwest-based supplier in July 2002. Washington, Jordan, and other co-conspirators were supposed to handle distribution in Maryland. But there was a dispute between Washington and some of the co-conspirators. And this prompted Jam Master Jay to tell Washington that he was cut out of the deal. After this disagreement, Washington and Jordan plotted to kill Mizell, according to the indictment papers. So why did it take so long? Well, Ducharme, and that's the guy that you heard in the beginning of this stream, he said at Monday's press conference that we started investigating the case at a very long time ago in the early 2000s, but there were a lot of challenges associated with bringing that case. He didn't offer more specifics on those difficulties, but the court papers described circumstances that might have made witnesses hesitant about coming forward. You can understand what that might mean. Prosecutors said they knew about 3 separate witnesses that Jordan endeavored to silence through threats and coercion, alleging that he had also enlisted others to do so on his behalf. And when Washington was implicated in a robbery case around 2007, another witness told authorities that he had tried to intimidate the witness and prevent him or her from cooperating with law enforcement. Without clear info about what went down that night, theories continued to circulate for years about who was responsible. I think a lot of people knew and understood who was really responsible, but of course, without witnesses, it's not much you can do. Not much you can do without witnesses. But how did they get Jordan and Washington? If there weren't witnesses, no one was confident enough to come forward, if they were being coerced and they were being threatened that they better not say anything, well, how'd the cops get them? Eyewitnesses at Jam Master Jay's 24/7 studio that evening identified them at some point, officials said. They also claimed that Washington has made various admissions, both to law enforcement and third parties, that corroborate his involvement in both the murder and the underlying narcotics conspiracy. Jordan and Washington's alleged efforts to scare witnesses and otherwise obstruct justice also show consciousness of guilt evidence that implicates them. This is what the prosecutors allege against these two men. The feds had previously alleged that Washington participated in Meisel's killing. When he was found guilty in 2007, in the 2007 robbery, his lawyer in that case, Susan Kelman, told the Times she thought they were bringing it up to secure a more severe sentence to that robbery. I had a sense that somebody whispered something in their ear to get themselves out of trouble, Kelman reportedly remarked of the past allegation, also saying that Washington always maintained he wasn't Meisel's murderer. When he heard the allegation, he was laughing and he said, "Good one." Prosecutors previously said that Washington was a suspect in the 1995 shooting of Randy Walker, who was close to Tupac. And that's according to the Associated Press. Publicly available information does not make it clear when witnesses allegedly identified the men, nor the person whom Kelman thinks might have spoken to authorities. Either way, witnesses have come forward that indicate Washington and Jordan. Both men have been arraigned. At Jordan's video arraignment Monday afternoon, defense attorney Michael Houston said Jordan was entering a plea of not guilty to all counts. Jordan was held pending trial. Houston did not immediately respond to requests for a comment for Jordan. At Washington's video arraignment Tuesday afternoon, defense attorney Susan Kelman entered a plea of not guilty. So both men are pleading not guilty, which means it will be set for a trial. And I believe that may begin, or there's going to be another court date in September. Be another court date in September for both men. And I'm not sure if that date is the actual trial or if they'll set the trial date on that date. Either way, these two men are going to trial, and we can only hope that justice is had for Jam Master Jay. What kind of time could they be facing? Well, if they're found guilty, each man is facing a minimum of 20 years to a maximum of life in federal lockup, or even the death penalty. And there's a picture of these two men here. You've probably seen these pictures around. And if you watched the documentary on Netflix, you've seen what these two guys look like in that documentary on Netflix, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. You have Carl Jordan and you have Ronald Washington. Ronald Washington has his name on his picture, so by process of elimination, the other guy is Carl Jordan. And if you want to see a bigger picture, it's Carl Jordan. And that's Ronald Washington. What makes it even worse, ladies and gentlemen, is that this guy, Ronald Washington, was Jam Master Jay's friend. Jam Master Jay let him sleep on his couch and all kinds of stuff like that. You know, go back and do the history. Go back and do the history. And of course, Jam Master Jay's family, you know, I'm pretty sure at the moment that we are in the country, in the way black men and women are being killed, feel some kind of way. Obviously, Jam Master Jay wasn't killed by police, but he was killed by his own people. This is their response, and I'm sorry, that's not their response. Let me come on back here. Apologize for that. This is their response. A statement from the Mizell family. First and foremost, we want to thank everyone who has reached out in support of our family today. We appreciate your kind thoughts and words. Upon hearing this news, we have mixed emotions. We truly hope that these indictments are a solid step towards justice being served in the murder of Jay. We realize that there are other families out there who have lingering pain, who continue to wait for their own closure. And we pray that this case gives them hope. In spite of all the tragedies we've seen this year alone, we take comfort in our family, our faith, and in time's ability to heal all. We can only hope that this news brings awareness to the fact that Black lives do matter. We ask that everyone please respect our family's privacy as this case moves forward through the judicial system. Thank you. And you know, it's going to be a case that everyone's going to want to follow, and we'll keep you updated right here on the Front Stoop as it pertains to Jam Master Jay and this entire trial, what happens and how it takes place. And you know, the guy Carl Jordan, you know, I'm sure you guys have read the articles and you've seen his Instagram page. He has multiple tributes to Jam Master Jay and Run DMC on his page, which makes it even more strange. Multiple tributes. You know, he's taking pictures in front of Jam Master Jay murals, taking pictures in front of Run DMC murals. You know, obviously he entered a plea of not guilty, but if he did this, and clearly he was part of it, he was there, he was part of it, and you know, to rub it in the family's face, to rub it in Jam Master Jay's face, you already, you know, committed a crime against this man and murdered this man allegedly. And then now, you know, you want to take pictures and give so-called tributes and write this and that every year on his birthday. You know, that's it's strange, and it's painful because, you know, Jam Master Jay was a legend in hip hop. Now, you know, how do people feel about Jam Master Jay participating in, you know, in a narcotics ring? You know, that's up to you. That's up to you, right? And how you feel about that. I don't know the entire situation. I don't know if we'll get the entire situation on how and why he was part of that type of deal, right? That type of narcotic situation. I don't know. You know, if the reports are correct and what they say, you know, that's a lot of cocaine. That's a lot of cocaine. You know, I don't know. You know, I don't know. It's you know, if you watch the documentary on Netflix, you know, and you can take it for what it is with what you saw. Obviously, they don't have all of the information and they don't have all of the details. You know, but they alluded to, you know, Jam Master Jay maybe having some financial difficulty, and so this is the route that he chose to take. And when people come from the street, they do what they got to do to survive. It doesn't excuse anything, but it definitely does not warrant my man to be no longer living. You know, but that's how the game goes. That's how the game goes sometimes. Hopefully these two guys get what they deserve. You know, if they're found to be guilty of murdering Jam Master Jay, hopefully they get what they deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to hear what you think about it. If you're out there and you want to call in, give me a call, 516-405-2246. Give me your thoughts on it. What you think, how you feel. Made by Harlem said more arrests might be coming soon on the case. And if that is the case, that there are more arrests, we would definitely update you on, you know, what's happening and what's going on. You know. Anyway, give me a call if you want to give me a call. 516-405-2246. And in the meantime, you know, let's talk about a couple other things happening in hip hop. Later on tonight, at midnight tonight, Nas drops his album King's Disease. Right? Highly anticipated, ladies and gentlemen. Highly anticipated. I'm waiting for it. I can't wait. I'm excited. I thought the first single was pretty dope. You know, I'm looking at the track list. Not the track list that I expected. I don't think it's the track list that a lot of people expected. But I'm excited to see what Nas comes forth with. You know what I mean? Nas always surprises. He always comes out the blue with something a little bit different. That's the reason why excitement always builds for his albums, you know? Couple other albums, not this week. I'm sure there's more albums coming out this week, but albums that I'm interested in, maybe that you're interested, that are coming out. Next week, The Lox has an album coming out, right? It's called Living Off Experience. They actually have a podcast as well, right? You know, and it's pretty dope. Podcast is pretty dope. Pretty dope. I think they had Mary J. Blige on the first episode. And it's not really The Lox facilitating the podcast. It's other people coming in there talking about their experience, just life experiences, you know. And Saigon, he's got an album coming out. I forgot the name of it. I gotta remember the name of it. Saigon 777. I'll look it up real quick so I can get the name of it. He's got an album coming out on the 28th as well. Right, so there's a lot of things. Hey, yeah, what a way to end the summer. You know what I'm saying? What a way to end the summer to have some dope albums coming out. You know, have some dope albums coming out. But listen, what we're going to do is probably, I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. You know, I don't know if I'm going to jump back on tonight to review that Nas album. So maybe it may be tomorrow. You know, we're doing Underground Radio tomorrow. So on Underground Radio tomorrow. We got MC Search. Don't forget about that. It'll be on. We'll start at 9 o'clock. Right, we got MC Search, so make sure you check us out then. So I don't know. Maybe after we do Underground Radio, we'll jump up and we'll do the Nas album. All right, you know, do it that way. Anyway, let me get back to Saigon 777, The Resurrection. And the first song off that joint is dope. Bullets 19. That's the first song off of The Resurrection. Saigon 777, The Resurrection. The first song is Bullets 19. There's a video out to it. Both of them, the song obviously is dope. The video is dope. So I'm looking forward to this album, man. Saigon is a slept-on artist, in my opinion. And I feel like this album is really going to be dope. Really going to be dope. That comes out next Friday. So make sure you jump out there and check that out. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's just a quick update on some things. There's other things going on. You know what? Another thing that I do want to mention. You know, there's a court case going on. Speaking of court cases, there's a court case going on with Nicki Minaj. You remember a couple years back, maybe 2018, she dropped a single with Nas. She didn't actually drop the single. It was just put out underground. I think she gave it to Funkmaster Flex. And Funkmaster Flex played it. It was a dope single. You know, I think, 2 years ago, there was, you know, all the rumors and this and that. Nicki Minaj and Nas was whatever, what have you. You know what I mean? But it was a dope single. Forgot the name of it now, but it was a dope single. It was a dope song. It was off a Queen album. But the song never got officially put on the album because it could not clear samples. Right? So it took a sample from Tracy Chapman. Now, in the music industry, Tracy Chapman is known as someone who does not clear samples to her music. she does not clear samples to her music. It's like she's on an unwritten list of people that don't clear samples. But if you understand how it works when you're making music, when you're making beats, songs, whatever you're doing, in order to get a sample cleared, you make the beat, you make the song, right? You use whatever samples you're going to use, you make the beat, you make the song, and then you send it in to the production company, to the publishing company, to get the sample cleared. They clear the sample, you pay, boom. You whatever the deal is, you might pay $1,500, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for the sample. They get a percentage of however much money that song makes, whatever the deal is. And then once the sample is cleared, you're free to release it commercially. What a lot of artists do when they're unable to clear a sample is they throw it out on a mixtape. Back in the day, a lot of times mixtapes used to be rappers rapping over other people's beats, and then it evolved to rappers, just basically making an album but putting it out on the street. A lot of times, those songs that you hear are samples that those samples couldn't get cleared, so they just throw it out and give it to people for free. Well, that's basically what Nicki Minaj was doing, except she gave it to Fun Master Flex. They put it on the radio. So the radio make money, basically makes money off of, because people are tuning in so that they can hear it. Now, Tracy Chapman and her people are saying, hey, that's copyright infringement. We didn't clear the sample. We told you, no, we're not going to clear the sample, but you put it out anyway. Although it wasn't on a commercial record, it wasn't put out, it wasn't put out on any kind of streaming services or anything like that. Still, they consider it a copyright infringement, and there's a court case. Now, how does this impact hip hop? I tell you how, man. It could change the way, depending on this decision, it could change the way that artists make music. Because like I said earlier, right now, you use a sample. You experiment with it. You make a song. You submit that song to the publisher. They clear the sample or they deny the clearance. Now, and it could be cleared or denied. It could be cleared, but it could be denied for a multitude of reasons. That artist just does not clear samples, or that artist doesn't like the song, doesn't like the way that you use the sample. Whatever it is, they could choose to deny it. But if Tracy Chapman wins this court case, now when producers make music and they want to use a sample, they may have to get the sample cleared first and then start to experiment. But that's all backwards. Because a lot of times, in order to get a sample cleared and to understand the price, what it's going to cost to clear that sample, depends on how much of that song you used, right? Did you use 5 seconds, 10 seconds? Did you take an entire loop? Right? And then the publishing company decides, okay, well, you took this much, so this is what the price is. We'll see how that works out. We'll definitely see how it works out. Listen, I understand Tracy Chapman's point, though. Because even though she didn't put it out commercially on her album or on streaming services, talking about Nicki Minaj, it still helped to promote her album, right? It still helped to promote the album, which means that she still made money off of the promotion of that song. So I can understand where Tracy Chapman is coming from. I don't know. We'll see, but it is something that could have a significant impact on how music is made in hip hop. Now, I mean, it could. It won't affect the fan much. Fans don't care. But it'll affect the producers. It'll affect the record labels. It'll have an impact. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for taking the time, rocking with me for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Look, I'm going to head up out of here. I do want to remind you, though, tomorrow night, MC Search is going to be on the show. It's going to be a dope show. We're going to have about 5 to 7 songs that we're going to review. We'll probably have some songs from independent industry artists or popular industry artists, whatever you want to call it. You know, we'll get some stories from MC Search. You know, we're going to review the songs. We're going to have a good time. So make sure you join in. Please share it out. Get some other people checking the show out because it's going to be a dope show. It's going to be a dope show. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m., MC Search, ladies and gentlemen. We were supposed to have DJ Effin. Pretty sure you guys remember that. We were supposed to have DJ Effin, but he's, you know, he was unable to make it tomorrow. You know, due to, you know, other business. Okay, so, you know, he said, look, you know, we'll make something happen. It might not be tomorrow, but we'll make something happen. So I respect that. Understand how it is. Happens that way. It's Friday night. You know what I mean? It's Friday night. Brother's still DJing. So, you know what I mean? He's coming to talk for free. But when he gets here, he gets here. And we're going to appreciate it. We'll have a good time. But tomorrow night is going to be MC Search. A lot of fun stories, good stories. We're going to talk hip-hop, listen to music. It's going to be a dope night. So make sure that you join us, man. All right, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Once again, that's the flyer for tomorrow night. And if you want the flyer, I can get you the flyer. You can help promote it, too. But I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch me in about an hour on Nothing But Knicks. Because as you can see, I got the orange shirt on. I'm a New York Knicks fan. The NBA lottery is tonight. We're going to find out where the New York Knicks are going to pick in the upcoming NBA draft. Right? The Knicks have a 9% chance of getting the number 1 pick. They have a 0.1% chance of getting that number 10th pick. Let me tell you something, bro. If the Knicks get the number 10 pick, they have a 0.1% chance of getting the number 10 pick. If they get the number 10 pick, I don't know. I don't know. It's almost impossible for them to get the 10th pick, a 0.1% chance. But if they get that 10th pick at a 0.1% chance, that's not good news for the New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you catch me. Make sure that you catch me at 8 o'clock tonight on Nothing But Knicks. Just go to YouTube and type in Nothing But Knicks or NBK if you're new to this channel here. Probably Nothing But Knicks. Eric from Brooklyn, you say, we'll keep your number and other links to talk. Okay. Great show. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I could do more shows during the day like this, you know, jumping in and breaking down some quick topics. You know, we're talking about it. I do want to say I apologize for last night. I was not able to get on last night. Happens like that sometimes, but next week I'll be back on at the same time. All right, be back on next week at 9 p.m. All right, so I apologize for not being able to get on tonight. All right, but I will be on Nothing But Knicks. I mean, I apologize for not being able to get on last night, but I will be on Nothing But Knicks tonight, 8 p.m. You know, and I see a couple of producers in here, you know, talking about how that whole thing with Nicki Minaj and Tracy Chapman could impact producing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm with you guys, man. I'm with you guys. It could have a negative impact for sure. You know? Anyway, I'm out of here. Nothing But Knicks tonight. NBA lottery, 8 o'clock. MC Search tomorrow, 9 p.m. Independent music, live review. It's going to be dope. Peace, man. Be peaceful. Rest in peace to the brother Jam Master Jay. I'm out of here.